Hello there guys, and welcome back to our car modelling tutorial. Today we're going to continue working with the Dodge Demon. In the last episode we went through and we selected all the different panels on here that we're going to run through and smooth independently. I don't think there's anything that's going to be really too tricky on here. And then as usual I do have my reference images sat here as well. So we're going to start with the front. In the last episode we duplicated special and the elements that we have here, and it looks like for the most part it's going to be fairly simple. So I'm going to maybe start with the bumper here first. Let me just isolate the selection. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to add a little bit more depth to it. So firstly I'm going to grab maybe all of these lower lines here. So I'm going to grab all of those. I'm going to hit Control E and I'm just going to take them down just a touch, and then maybe we'll go just to the left and then maybe just backwards as well. And I'm going to go grab this one over here, holding X, let's take that back to the center. Okay. Let's go ahead and maybe take all of these ones at the side here. I'm going to take those ones as well, and we'll run down here, including that one we just created. We're going to hit Control E and let's bring this in as well. What we're wanting to do is just create a little bit of depth to these panels, just like how it would be in the real car. We're going to want to make a little bit of a change here. Let's maybe put on our edge slide constraint, and I'm just going to slide that down there just a touch, and then I don't think it's going to let us do that with our edge slide on, so let's turn that off. We'll just take that back just a little bit there. Let's maybe take that down. Okay, maybe go just something like that. Just find a decent middle ground, and then let's go select both of those and let's bridge that gap. It's looking fine. Let's go ahead and take all of these top lines, and remember, because we did duplicate special in the last episode, it means that our second piece along there will be doing the exact same stuff. So I'll bring that down there, and we do want these to merge over here, so maybe what we'll do is we'll select them and hit merge on those just so they find a nice mid ground themselves. Okay, so I'm fairly happy with that. I think for the most part that should be okay. So we're going to want to have a go at thinking about how we're going to smooth this and where we want to kind of add some creases in. If I do remember correctly, I don't think we need this line anymore, because we use this line here just to kind of add in an area for this to snap. So I'm just going to hold down Control, hit delete on that, because like I said, I don't think we need that anymore. We're going to want to add in some lines here to help support some of these edges. So I think the first lines that we'll probably add in is, let's maybe run all the way along and down here. Now the way that the mesh is flowing is we're not going to be able to insert an edge loop down and around here, because what will happen is that line will then continue to run down here, which we don't want it to do. We want it to go across and then along here to kind of help support this line. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my multi-cut, and what we'll do here is I'm just going to go ahead and just draw in an extra supporting line across there. It looks like it's gone a bit behind, so let me just quickly go again here. Okay, so it's not letting me drag around there, so let's maybe actually go here. Let's go ahead and just merge that one there. Okay, so it looks like I've got a little issue. I'm just going to fix this real quick. Okay, we're back. We should be good. I just had a little bit of a weird kind of face gap there, which I couldn't merge together. So let's go ahead now. Let's bring this back in. So we should be able to run a line around here. Your guys is probably fine with no problem. So I'm just going to run that around there and hit enter. And I'm going to go ahead and grab my insert edge loop tool and drop that all the way down around there, and then we'll drop that on this side as well, just here. And then that will allow us to link these now together. So this means that our edge is going to flow nicely around this corner for us. Let's grab this one and take that there. We are going to want to merge these two together. Let's go ahead and hit target weld on these, and maybe just target weld that one down there, something like that. Now what that's going to do for us is that's going to help us kind of maintain this line a little bit sharper. We can see how all the other ones are a little bit dull, but we can see how that edge is nice and sharp because we've kind of supported that with another edge there. One thing we do need to do, judging by my references, it looks like we're going to want to move all of these edges across here. So just these front vertices, we want to go along and a little bit closer. Just something like that. It looks like we've got a little bit more definition on there in the actual car, so we'll bring that in here. Okay, so we'll maybe have a go with the easier lines down here. So let's go again. I'm going to hit our edge loop tool, and I'm just having a look, and it looks like the wheel arch here is nice and defined. Obviously, just checking my references here. Let me open this one up real quick. Yeah, so we've definitely got a defined edge just there. Not a crazy defined, but there is defined nonetheless. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my insert edge loop tool, and I'm going to drop one in just on that inside there. And that should help us add a little bit of definition to that line. So I'm just going to hit 3, and we can see that we've got a little bit of definition that runs down there, which is quite nice. If we do want to improve on that a touch, we can add in another line. Let me just double check, because I'm not really liking how this sits. It doesn't look like it's quite smooth enough. Let me just take my edge off. Just going to push that a bit further in. Okay. So what we could do is we could add another edge on this side as well. And we can see that we've got a bit more definition to that. I do think that's probably a little bit too much. So we'll go with the 1 for now, and then if need be we could add another one in, maybe part way. Let's maybe see how that would look. If we drop one maybe about here, for example. Okay, so that looks a little bit better. I think that looks like it should be okay. So we've dropped a line in just a bit further back there. I'm going to go ahead and drop a line just there as well, just to help us shore up that edge as well, so that's looking quite nice. Let's go ahead and drop in, I think we're going to want multiple here on both sides, so something like that. So we've got nice defined edges for that wide body flare that comes off, something like that. So that's looking really good there. Let me just check again. Yeah, so that's looking good. Let's go to the bottom, and I'm going to drop in a loop just on the underside. Okay, and I've just done that just there because we do have our split that runs along, front splitter here, so I just wanted that just to make sure that behind there it is nice and smooth for us. And let's go ahead and grab our insert edge loop again. I think what we'll probably want to do is we'll want to put one just here, so we can tighten up that edge, but I don't think we want to add more than the 1. I think the 1 inside there should be fine. Let's maybe see how it looks if we add a loop through here. It looks like my edge slide wasn't the best at this point. Let me just bring that one a bit further forward. Maybe do something a bit more like that. Okay, so I think that looks good. We do have a little bit of definition on that inside, which is fine. And then I think maybe what we could do down here as well is I'm going to add some definition. Let me just scroll on the inside here. I think we'll do that on the inside. It might be easier for you guys to see if I just isolate the selection here. But I'm going to drop a loop just there, and the same on this side as well, just where that kind of vent appears to be. So get a bit more definition as part of that, so that looks quite nice. This top bit here Looks like we have some definition across the top, but not necessarily too much further down. So let's just drop a line in and see how it looks. Let's drop one just here, and we can hit 3. Okay, so that's looking too bad. It's looking like we've got a little bit of definition as we run around. I think that we want to lose that a little bit more from about this point. So let's maybe go ahead with our edge slide here and just start to pull this away just a touch. We do want to have definition on this, but I don't think we want to have quite that much. So maybe pull that back to about there. Okay, so we do have a little bit of a line running across there, which is nice, but then it sharpens up nicely as it runs up and across the top. And then I think the last thing we probably want to do for this front bumper here is, I think we have a little bit of a defined line just here. So along the crease of the body, we can see that we've got a little bit of a defined line there. So let's go ahead and drop in a loop along there too. I'm not sure if we're going to need 1 or 2. But we can see that we're starting to get a little bit of a defined edge up there. Okay, and then if we bring everything else, we can see that that whole front bumper there is looking quite nice. It does obviously look a little bit pointy, but that's not a problem because when we do join these together, which we will be doing, that will get rid of that for us. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into Hypershade here real quick, and let me see what I've got. So I've got some pasted materials in here from the wheels that I've brought in for placeholders. I'm just going to create a new plane, and I see a lot of colours that are being used on here is quite a bright red. So maybe we could go for the same. Or maybe just call this, if I can spell, we'll call that body just there. I can bring that down here, attach that to both of those. Just in there. It's nice to use materials with a little bit of specular on it, just so you can see if you've got any problems or errors as you go through. It's not looking too bad for the most part on here. I think that looks okay. What we could do is we could maybe think about the front splitter here. There's a few variations of this. It looks like what we want to do for this is, it looks like we have a little bit of a change that we need to make around this area based on some of these references here, but for the most part I think they're very similar. So I'm just again looking through my references. It does look like inside this we do want to make a little bit of a change, so it looks like maybe these here, maybe get rid of my edge slide. It looks like these here actually jump up like that. And then it comes fairly thin. So let me maybe grab all of these. Looks like I've missed one there. Grab all of those, take those a little bit lower. Okay. So if we hit 3 on this just now, we'll start to see that flow around there quite nicely. Before we do anything, it might be nice just to grab all of this inside. So I'm going to take all of these here. Maybe this one. I'm going to hit Control E. Actually, let's maybe just take all of them. So all of those. I'll hit Control E on these. I'm just going to pull them in on the blue there, just a touch, to intersect through. I think for the most part we're looking okay here. It's a little bit wavy, but obviously that's kind of tied into the actual line of the bumper there, because obviously I haven't looked in this model for quite some time, so it's probably not quite how I remember, but we're doing okay. Let's go for an edge loop then, and we'll drop one straight down the side. Okay, so that's not looking too bad. It does look like we want to try and maintain this a little bit more, this edge here. So maybe what we could do is, let's go insert an edge loop. I'm going to drop one in, maybe just about there. And then with my edge slide on, I'm just going to take that over into that corner. Just to kind of help me maintain that just a touch, and obviously we want to get a little bit of definition in there, which is fine. I think the amount of curve we've got here is okay, based on the references again. So let's go ahead, insert an edge loop. I think I'm going to drop one more down here, just to make that nice as we go down there. And then let's go ahead and drop one on this side, and then I'm going to drop one on this underside too. Just take that and drop that down. Okay, so I think that looks as it should. Maybe the only thing we could do potentially is take that a little bit more in this direction. Something like that. And then we can go ahead and, I don't know if I've already got one, but let's go ahead. I'm going to create another one, another blade inside here, and I'll call this, we'll go for just some general trim. Let me bring that on here and on here. Then we go a little bit darker. Okay, so that's looking quite nice. So the grill inside here, we're not going to smooth that, obviously. It looks like it's about right. Let's have a think about this and this here. So I'm just going to quickly go for mesh and combine, and then mesh and separate for those, just because it makes it easier to flip them. So if we go on to edit, duplicate special, and then do the same over here just by hitting G. And this should be fairly simple. I'm just having a look. It doesn't look like there's anything kind of major with this in terms of design. So let's just go ahead and drop in some edge loops on all sides. Let me just isolate this. Okay, so we don't actually need to drop any at the bottom because we don't have any depth to that, so that's okay. Okay, so we can hit 3 and we can see that because of how that's sat, that's automatically going to run all around and match the geometry that we already have in there, which looks quite good. I can't help but feel from what I'm looking at here that we actually do need to have a little bit more definition in this top corner. So maybe what we could do is drop in an edge loop, maybe about there. Maybe something like that. Yeah, I'm just trying to compare this to the references. It does look like that goes up a little bit more. So what we could do with that, if I bring on here, let's go insert edge loop, and I'm going to drop one at the same spot. So that means it will curve in the same manner as that area around. So we see that's curved around inside there, so that's looking pretty good. Let's go for this one too. So let's just isolate this real quick and grab our insert edge loop. Now we already know everything about this for the most part is fine, so let's just go ahead, run that loop around there. Don't know if we'll be able to because this is a bit weird at the bottom here. Oh yeah, we're good. So we'll drop in one at the front too. And drop one around there, and then we're going to want to do the same. So let's just remove the smooth on here. I'm going to bring back in my wireframe and I'll drop in a loop just here. Okay, so that means that we can smooth all of that off quite nicely. We remove my wireframe and we can see that that's going to run around all of there quite nicely. So I think that's looking good in that lower portion. as it is. Okay, so let's think about maybe this bit then. If we hit 3 on this, we can see that that's already flowing around fairly nicely. We've just got that top section to do, so I'm going to go ahead and isolate that selection as well and just do the exact same again. Let me just grab my insert edge loop. I'm going to go on all 3 of those sides. We do want to drop one up here, and again I'm just going to aim to get that in the same spot. Just up there. I think we do want to have a little bit in here in terms of shape, so let's maybe drop in some lines just there, just to kind of help us maintain that portion in there. Okay, so that's looking good. Maybe what we could do is let's maybe combine all of these and then separate them. We'll grab this and we can duplicate a special that one too. Okay, so for the most part there, I think the front end here is looking quite nice. Okay, so that's looking good. Let's go ahead maybe and jump onto our fender here. We could maybe at least make a start of this. We've got about maybe 10 minutes left. We could also make a start on the hood. Let's go for the fender here. We should be able to duplicate special there, which we can, which is good. We can at least maybe get this prepped. So let's run around here. I'm going to grab everything that allows me to go sideways. Take all of this. We'll take as much as we possibly can. Grab all of that, and then let's go ahead and take this too. Okay, so I'm going to hit Control E, and I'm just going to pull that in the way. We just want to kind of go a similar distance to what we have on that lower portion just down there. Obviously the kind of thicker we go there, the more awkward it's going to be, especially when it comes to merging these extra sections. So let's go ahead and take this and pull that in this direction. And I'm just going to bridge across there. That should be okay. And then I think we want to do the same down here. Going to grab these and just make a little bit of space, just so it's a little bit cleaner. Okay, and then we're all good as we run up there, and we're all good around here. Maybe drop that one down. Let's take all these edges. Pull these ones down here. And then just like before, let's go ahead and grab these and we'll merge those together so they find a nice middle ground, and then we'll probably have these ones down here to do the same. Okay, so we should have a little bit of thickness running around that whole panel. And then again, because we created an instance, we'll have the same running all the way down that side too. So let's maybe go ahead then and see what we can do inside here. We're going to want to do the same kind of idea. We're going to want to run down and across that portion. That's probably the most tricky one to add, so we'll maybe do that one first. And let's just hit 3, make sure we're looking good around there, which we are. I'm just going to check my references and make sure there's nothing too crazy. There isn't. There is a Dodge Demon badge sitting right here, which might be cool to put together. Okay, so We're going to run down here with this line, but first I'm thinking this is going to be the occupied. This is a triangle here, so let's just go ahead and draw just around here. We've got another triangle here, so what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to draw all the way along, if it will let me, which it won't. It will from this angle though for some reason. So we'll draw all the way along there, and then onto this line here, just get a little bit closer, and then onto that inner side there too. A lot of people ask why don't we do these lines first, because then when we extrude in, these are fine. Sometimes if we do the z-axis like we did at that lower portion down there, that can get really awkward, so I generally like to just draw them in first. We're going to go get rid of this triangle by dragging that over there. The rest here is looking okay. Let's go ahead and drop in an edge loop at the top here, and then we can go ahead and line those up together. Okay, so I'm going to hit 3. We can see that that line running down there is matching up with everything really nicely, which is good. And then the only thing we need to think about at the top here is we have that extra line that's running along. Now we did add that at the top, so that's going to run at the top here. It looks like it might have been better to actually run it across the bottom, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to add one on the underside, and we'll see how it matches up, and if it does, then that's not going to be a problem. So you see that's matching up quite nicely, so it's going to be okay. It's probably going to be a case that we will add in another one anyway, because it doesn't look as defined as it looks on my references. It does look like that's a really, really sharp line, which isn't quite as sharp as it gets to this point. So maybe what we'll do is I'm just going to go ahead and drop in, just going to select this bumper first. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to drop a line just there, well, of vertices just there. I'm going to insert an edge loop, which is going to be matching that one just there. And then with this one, I'm going to go ahead and tee that off at that point, and then get rid of that extra vertices. Okay, because there is a little bit of cool detail here, which we'll hopefully try and emulate there. But now if I remove that, we can see that we've got a much sharper line, and it's not affected our front more than it needs to. What we could do if we wanted to is we could do the same on this side. So rather than have this run all the way around and under, if we want to keep it a little bit, let's maybe do that. Let's go ahead and maybe grab this line. I'm going to hit delete, I'm going to double click and then control delete on there. We're going to want to remove that line from here, so let's double click and hold control and delete as well. Okay, and then instead of running through there, let's go ahead and target weld that one there as well. If it's going to look a bit too weird, we can target weld it to the one before. But that's looking okay. There is like a little bit of detail in the actual car in some of them, which kind of matches up with that, so we'll maybe just keep that as is. We do need to run a line then up here. Now this could get awkward because it could end up running up there, which it's going to. So let's maybe go ahead and drop in a line just a vertices just there for now. Go for an insert edge loop and we'll drop that all the way across the top here. Okay. Now we are going to want this to flow all the way, which is awkward because we don't have that geometry in just now. So let's actually go ahead and bring this all the way here onto this portion, and then let's go a little bit lower, just onto there, and then we'll go around the corner with that as well. Because that means that we can then take that along there too. We do need to tidy that up, so let's go here, and I'm going to go ahead and target weld this vertices over there. Okay, so that should no longer be an issue for us. So we can see now we've got a super defined line, and I'm pretty sure that's what we want based on the design of the car. So we've got a really defined line that runs along there, which is good. Before we finish off for this episode, let's get all of this matched up as well. We'll go just around the arch, and then maybe in the next episode we'll finish everything else. Let's go ahead here, insert an edge loop, and we can see that we want to go really nice and close here. This is awkward because we have a triangle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in an edge loop about there. Because that's now 4 sides, we do want to bring this up on here, like so. And then I'm going to drop an edge loop that runs all the way around, a similar distance as possible, and then we can link that together. Okay, if we really wanted to, we could clean this up a touch by merging that down there. Okay, so we can see that we've got a very similar line that runs all up there. We do want to add in an edge just here as well. Okay, so we can see that we've got that nice edge that's running up all around there. And then again, we'll do the exact same with the rest of this arch here. And get in nice and close. And I'm just going to drop in loops that are going to run all the way top and bottom. A little bit awkward at this point, so let's go ahead and bring that up here. Drop that nice and close. That will run all the way around. And then we can bridge that gap too. Okay, so just match the exact same lines to run up and around there. So let's remove that. So we can see now we've got a super nice wheel arch that runs all the way around there as well. We're looking good everywhere else. We do only have this one little bit up here to do, so maybe we could just quickly do that in this episode. So I'm going to go ahead and drop an edge loop here, which is going to run all the way down there, and let's drop one across here as well. We have this awkwardness running all the way up here, and we want a line to run all the way down there as well. So let's quickly grab our multi-cut, because I think it'll just be better just to draw this whole thing in. I'm going to quickly just isolate the selection here. Okay, so let's run that up here. Get it nice and close. I'm going to run up here all the way up, and I think what we actually want to do is we're going to want to go all the way up to this very top bit and then around here, like so. So we've got a lot of cleanup, so let's get in nice and close. We want these to merge together up there. We want this one here to merge just there, because we don't want that little triangle just there. And then down here, we're going to merge those ones too. Okay. So we should have that running up there nice and clean. Okay, which it is. Okay. And then let's quickly just run one more line. Let's run it up here, just as far as it'll go. And then we'll do the exact same right here. If we can get an angle, let's run around all up here, and then onto that lower portion down there. Okay. That's looking quite good. The last thing we're going to want to do is let's go ahead and grab an edge loop, and we do want to drop one on there, because we do want some definition just there. I'm just wondering if we want some definition on the top as well. So I think we'll want some definition up here. So that will kind of depend on the hood, but I think for now I'll add that in. Okay. The one last thing is, I think on here we do have a defined line that kind of runs along this portion here. So I think what I'll do is I will save that for the next episode, because we have run over quite a lot. So we'll think about how we're going to do this line in the next episode just here, because obviously we don't want it to affect the actual wheel arch as we go around there as well. But I think for the end of this episode here, we're looking quite nice. We're looking really good in terms of the front wing there, apart from that line. So in the next episode, we'll finish that off, and then we'll jump on and we'll do the hood, and then we'll maybe just continue to work our way down the side of the car there as well. Alright guys, so if you enjoyed this episode, please hit that thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the thumbs down. Subscribe to the channel. If you're new, please subscribe to Drift3D on YouTube as well. That's DRFT3D, in order to follow along any more major kind of car modding tutorials on there. Alright guys, I will see you in the next one.